Hey guys, welcome to another Gamerzclass exclusive. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the 4-4-2, specifically the second variation. It might in the tactics menu be called the 4-4-2 holding. It's basically the exact same as the 4-4-2, but the two centre mids change to CDMs. I'll explain when I get to them why I use them like that. But this is the formation that I've been using for the last maybe 2 to 3 weeks, and in my opinion right now it is just about the best formation in the game. The two formations that I would be going between for the best formation in the game would be this or the 4-2-3-1. I know right now Jambu still loves the 4-2-3-1. I think somewhat it might be gameplay, like in terms of how your style of play, how you like to play works on the game. But for me, I'm loving the 4-4-2 right now. I've always preferred formations that have two strikers, and the 4-4-2 obviously offers that. I'm going to show you on the tactics menu, I'll draw lines on it and tell you why I think it's so good, what the players can do. I'll tell you the type of players you want in each position, and then I'm going to show you some gameplay clips of exactly how the 4-4-2 works in game, how I'm using it, and what I think makes it so good. For me though, at the moment, it's my favourite formation. I'll show you my tactic and explain you the process through that. Just so you know you can trust this, I hit a 30-0 of it this weekend. I hit 29 wins the weekend before. I've had back-to-back top 200s, the 4-2-3-1. I got back-to-back 30s. So I've hit 30 with the 4-2-3-1, 30 and 29 with the 4-4-2. So you can trust that I'm using these tactics. I stream these on my Twitch, make sure you guys check it out. Every weekend I've been using these formations and really liking them, so I highly recommend them. This tactic as well, and the reason I love the 4-4-2 is, and this is an important thing when you're playing FIFA in my opinion, is it's more fun. I just find the way the 4-4-2 plays more fun than the 4-2-3-1. The 4-2-3-1's obviously massively effective, but the way the 4-4-2 plays and the aggressive high press attacking style I'm using with it just work really well. Let's get into the actual tactic themselves. So, anyone who's been watching the Tex Masterclass, and I've seen you guys talking about in the Discord, will have noticed Tex plays high depth, and obviously Tex is probably the best ever at pressing on FIFA. For me, when I was helping produce the Tex Masterclass, with Raleigh and the other people at Gamerzclass, one of the things that I really learned and was watching Tex was how hard it is for his opponent to keep the ball against him. For me, naturally, I've always been a little bit more of a passive defender. I'm very good at player switching, reading the game, cutting passing lanes, but I feel like when I was watching Tex explain how he presses and the style of play doesn't having the high depth, I think that it makes him a better player than others because it just allows him to dominate and control the tempo of the game a lot more. Whereas a lot of the time for me, the way I was playing was I was just giving a lot of the momentum to my opponent. Having high depth as well on this FIFA works really well in my opinion. I mean, there's two ways you can do it. I think Jambu's playing drop back in the 4-2-3-1 on not low depth, but like 4 depth. You do invite more pressure in that, but then it does allow you to counter attack more. But for me, what I'm enjoying with this is that having higher depth and higher press basically means on this game where tackling, let's be real, isn't very consistent, the high depth, high press means that even when I get screwed over by the game, like when a bad tackle happens where the ball lands back at them, it's so high up the pitch, I'm not going to concede a stupid goal because of it. Whereas if you have low depth and drop back, when bad things go against you, you're more likely to concede because it can happen in your box. So that's one preference for that. The pressure on heavy touch works really well with the 4-4-2 because you've got players across all over the pitch, so you can press all over. The 5 width, as Mr. Donovan Hunt Tex said, it just means that you control the wings fine, but you've also got men in the middle. The high depth, you don't want to go too crazy, so you just get destroyed by through balls, but it allows you to press better. I don't do anything too much on the offense, it's just pretty default. My instructions, I have stay central, getting behind, stay forward on the strikers. I just want the strikers constantly looking for these runs in behind. Eto and R9 are obviously ludicrous, they're insane, but you want strikers, ones who have like 90 plus pace, who can just do this anyway. obviously for strikers, we've talked in videos before about the key attributes you want, but it's pretty obvious with strikers. The left mid and right mid, I want them to be fairly strong if possible, so they can win a few 50-50s. Rapid, really quick pace is important so they can get in behind. You can see that's one of my instructions. I used to use stay wide, but I use balance width now, so they do cut inside a bit more still. Come back on defense just helps the defending a lot more. This is one of the key bits now. For the two CDMs, and the reason I play CDMs is just that when I'm not in control of the ball, when I'm defending, they just drop a little bit deeper, sit a bit more in front of the defence as a shield, like they do in the 4-2-3-1, and that really helps to protect me when I'm defending. When they were centre mids, they don't do as much, and I was finding I was conceding more goals because they weren't doing enough. But even then, when I've got Zidane on the balance attack, he still gets involved and scores lots of goals. He got a hat-trick in one of my big games this week in League. For me, the key in the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1, I know Jambu says the same, is that you want a creator. This is the term I'm using, a creator. So for me, it's Zidane. A very good player still, but cheap version of him might be KDB, Kevin De Bruyne from Man City. And then you want a destroyer. So for me, the destroyer in this team is Denis Zakaria, the Swiss Vieira. Pick him up if you haven't already, and you can fit him in. The guy's an animal. So for the creator, you want someone who can still defend decent, but he has to be decent pace, can shoot, good weak for at least 4-star skills, so he can do things attack. Really good passing, so he can split defense up and he can play crazy through balls. Then for the CDM, the destroyer one, you want someone who's quick. Pace isn't essential, but it's nice to cover more ground. And then someone who can also just stay back while attacking. It's important. So when Zidane and all the front four, the two wings and the strikers are up, this one, the destroyer, just sits back and soaks up counter-attacks a bit more. High physicals, high defending, and good enough at passing. Good enough at passing that you're not going to just get caught out constantly when he's on the ball. The defenders, I think the stats are obviously one for them, but I just have them all on stay back. And then for the fullbacks, I actually put conservative interceptions to stop them constantly diving in and giving up easy through balls down the line. So that's my tactics. I'm going to show you in the 4-4-2 exactly this bit here, why I like the 4-4-2. I'll draw some lines on it, and then we'll get into some actual gameplay clips. Okay, you're going to see it in some of the clips that I show you of actual in-game. Like when I show you tactics, formations, talk about them, I don't want to literally only just show you the tactics, because I feel like you actually have to see how it plays in-game to get a real feel for it, and show you how I use it and the patterns I use in-game. And obviously then in the same way, it'll show you how you can use it in-game. But I'm going to show you like the philosophy, the thought process I have behind the 4-4-2 here. So, we have the defensive line. When you are playing 6 depth press on heavy touch, it is absolutely vital that you have a quick defensive line. If you have a defensive line with mid-70s pace, I would be dropping that defensive line, and you probably can't play as aggressive press. You can get a centre-back nearly as quick as Desai, like Klosterman, for like 2,000 coins. Desai is the best centre-back I've used this year, but you don't need someone as expensive as him to have a pretty fast centre-back. So a high defensive line. The two CDMs, these guys here, the reason that I have them in CDM rather than centre mid is, for me, when they're there, when I'm defending, they just shield this bit of the box. You can see this bit here. Around the edge of the box, they get in position, and if my opponent has the ball for longer, it just allows me to cover it a bit better, and it also allows me to put stay back while attacking, cut passing lanes on Zakaria, which really helps deal with the counter-attacks. Zakaria is just constantly roaming around this bit here, the middle of the box. He's on cover centre. Zidane's going to be going all around here, free roam almost in the attack. He's got high movement. Zakaria is like the destroyer, covers a lot of ground, so having him at CDM with the cut passing lanes really does allow him to do that. And like I said, if they don't counter-attack quick, it makes it easier when I'm defending to just have the shield in front of the back four, but it also stops counter-attacks because that CDM's on the cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking. I love the 4-4-2 because the left mid and right mid are constantly making these runs in behind. Sometimes what will happen is these two strikers will draw men out, and then the left mid or right mid will cut in and you'll have an easy ball for them. Or especially when Zidane gets involved, Zidane will make these runs forward, and then there'll be an extra man. They won't have marked your wingers, and then they can get in and just have an easy through ball, and they're in one-on-one on goal. So the left mid and right mid are really good for that. They also help protect the wings at this bit. When you're playing really high press, the 4-4-2 is really good at winning the ball back, because the left mid and right mid can push up and pen their fullbacks in, make it very hard for them to keep the ball. So I really like the 4-4-2 for that. And at times, you can also just dribble inside with the left mid and right mid and make an overload in the middle. The two strikers, I love to play 1-2s between them. They're constantly trying to make these runs in behind, but they don't only do that. They do drop off as well, especially the ones with smarter movement. But when you've got fast strikers making runs in behind all the time, someone like Zidane having that playmaker in there is going to play some crazy passes in behind, which can make a big difference. The shape of the 4-4-2 is just really nice. It's got a lot of variety, a lot of different attacking patterns, because you have basically 5 attackers when Zidane gets involved. You have a lot of good defenders. You cover the wings with the left mid, right mid. You have the 2 CDMs in this second holding variation to shield the box. You still have a flat back 4. And if you're really struggling, you can use the 4-2-3-1 to see out a game. Let's get into some clips in game where I can show you how the team actually shapes up in game, how it looks, and how I use it. For this first clip here, we're going to show some examples of how the 4-4-2 operates when I'm not in possession, how I defend with it, how I shape up, and how you can use the press to make it really effective. So instantly, like I say, the left mid here is against the right back and pens him in. With the extra press, for some reason, players just make silly passes. So I get the ball back there like that. I think I lose it pretty quick there from pretty poor play by me. So here, I drag my midfield into place. If they're centre mids, they're probably there, but CDMs, they instantly drop there quicker, which is really useful. I move my centre back there. I get him into position there in a good way. I end up losing the ball stupid. This is more just about the positioning defensively of the formation. You can see there, aggressive press, high press there from my centre back. I step in and I win the ball high up the pitch. And then I end up scoring directly from that, actually. Yeah, you can see there, the high press there. I win the ball there, and within a few seconds, within 2 passes, I've scored. That's all come from keeping defensive shape, high press. I didn't even realise, to be honest, when I was showing the defensive shape and clips there, that was going to lead to a goal. But that shows how the high press and winning the ball higher up the pitch and quickly counter-attacking, catching people out can work. You can see it's a bit more risky and aggressive, but if you get good at it, it can lead to situations like this that are really good. Then the 2 strikers who hover around here, if you do a quick pass to them and use an L1, LB run to trigger the other one run for a goal, you can get stuff like this where R9 just gets for a goal, and it leads to a very quick and easy counter-attack that puts me in front. In this game, I was playing against someone who on FIFA 17 was a top 100 player. Obviously, that's quite a long time ago. That's like 4 years, I think. I've been, 2016 at that point. So my opponent obviously might not be quite a top 100 player now. I think he hit like Elite 3, Elite 2. But the fact that he was a top 100 player at some point shows how good he was. So for me to restrict him to 0 shots was a very impressive performance. Here, more defensive shape. So I press him out wide with the winger, and it makes it so he can't really cut in and do an easy through ball down the middle. But then he's free on the wing. I switch to the fullback. I like to one-on-one defend. Here, the left mid gets back. They come back on defence. You can see my left mid's there. My 2 CDMs are sat here on the edge of the box, like I said. If they were centre mids, they'd probably be there instead. It's really good having them shield here in this position. It acts like the 4-2-3-1 in a lot of ways, except for the left mid and right mid cover the wings around this area bare. You don't have the cam from the 4-2-3-1 defending here, but the counter-attacks are a lot better because you have 2 strikers in this area here. You can see here, I use offside traps to push my team up, but if you look there, like, this is very hard to break down, and you can kind of switch to whichever one of the midfielders you want and push the opponent into different places. You can see here, I've got Zakaria at this point running towards him. Zidane's covering there. Salah, who's my right mid, who'd normally be there, has trapped this bit here. There's just nowhere really to go for him. My opponent gets lucky with a bounce, but there ended up forcing the ball pretty much straight back to me. End up defending that with Zidane, and I win the ball back. The 4-4-2 is not naturally known as a great defensive formation, but you could see there how hard it was for my opponent to break me down. The left mid, right mid tracking back. The holding version of the 4-4-2, having the 2 CDMs, it is an absolute nightmare for people to break down because you still have this shield in front of you back 4. And now let's show you some clips of how you can counter-attack and the attacking patterns of the 4-4-2. One of the key things we should look for in any formation that can make a big difference in our attack is the amount of options it gives us. That is the main thing that we tend to look for in our formations. What attacking patterns can they give? What can you do with them? Obviously, different formations are going to work differently based on the tactical instructions you set, but there is obviously a natural starting position. So in the 4-4-2, one of the things that makes it great for counter-attacks, but also keeping possession when used properly, is you've got a left mid and right mid. So I think I'm on 5 width. They cover the wings. You can see them here. They occupy the fullbacks, and one thing that they do as a left mid and right mid a lot better than a Lam and a Ram do in the 4-2-3-1 is that they seem to pull the left back and right back out, which when you've got 2 strikers is amazing, because a lot of the time you go to get situations where you've got a striker against centre back, a striker against centre back, and that's it. And if you do a quick 1-2 or beat one of the centre backs with a bridge dribble, quick movement, you can be in on goal. Whereas in the 4-2-3-1, the Lam and Ram don't tend to get fully occupied by the fullbacks. So the fullbacks can tuck in and mark the striker, and the striker's going to be marked by 2 centre backs. Obviously, you might have a Cam in this position who can give link-up play better, so there is pros and cons, but the 4-4-2 just does a very good job of pulling players out of position. A key part of attacking as well is patience. So here you can see I go backwards at the start of this attack. I go straight back to Zakaria. It's nice having this CDM who sits back a bit more, because it just means I've always got this out ball to play backwards to if I need. Patience is key when attacking. So many people play like idiots, to be honest, where they just rush everything forward, they play at one tempo, and they end up being so predictable, and being predictable is not good on FIFA. See here, I'm playing with my 2 CDMs. When I see a chance to go to the striker, I will go straight to him. So there. I wanted to play Toeto, but he'd switched to him, so I had to go backwards. That is a key thing to watch out for when you play against people. Look at who they're controlling. If he wasn't controlling his Joe Gomez there, Eto'o is making a run there. I think I could have played him in, but because he's marking it, I can't. I don't really see a great chance that's guaranteed, so I'm going backwards. Normally, at 0-0, I might have gone for something a bit more risky there, but because I'm 2-0 up and the game situation means I don't need to play more risks, I'm going to go for more guaranteed chances and control the game a bit more. See there, again, I maybe could have played that pass, but it's a bit risky. I'm also here looking to get the last attack of the half. Jambu will agree on this. For us, we genuinely believe that there's almost like a thing in the game where from kick-off and the last minute of a half, so 45th, 90th, 105th, 120th extra time, it just feels a little bit easier to score. The defence just don't seem to switch on as much. So I don't want to give my opponent the ball to give him that potential. So I'm playing safe here. You can see here that I've just got so many options. I'm not using the left mid and right mid much, but they are being used because essentially they're pulling the fullbacks out, and when they pull the fullbacks out wide, it gives me more space here to play to my strikers and midfielders. See here, I wanted to shoot there, but it was very good defending. I do end up winning the ball back, but that was good defending by him. Zakaria steps in, even though he's on stay back, you still get involved. And then R9 has got this 1v1 that I'm on about. The left back's on Salah, the right back's on Mbappe. I think that's the centre back. He's been pulled out, but Eto'o's being marked by these 2. So now Ronaldo gets this one-on-one with the centre back. And if you can beat a centre back one-on-one in the box, you're probably in on goal. Quick left stick dribbling, lovely turn, I end up scoring. If we go backwards, how long did I have the ball there? I got the ball on the 38th minute, and bar a few seconds where I lost the ball, I had the ball for 7 in-game minutes, controlled the ball. The 4-4-2 is fantastic for that. It's not as out and out possession based and easy to keep the balls like the 4-2-3-1. You've got the cam to link up, but you can keep the ball. Zidane makes runs in behind. You can be patient. You've got the two strikers. You've got width of the wingers. It is a fantastic, versatile formation for its attacking patterns. Here I'm going to show you a clip of how I can counter-attack in this. This is against the team press as well. 4-4-2 is fantastic for that. Sometimes I put striker drop back on when I'm defending a lead, and it allows Eto'o, seems to be the one who just drops back a bit more. Maybe it's because he has the higher defensive work rate. But here I've gone from defender on the edge of my box, and Eto'o with his getting behind movement, he's being chased by Essien, who isn't exactly a slouch. Essien's pretty quick, but you can get someone with as much pace as Eto'o easily. This is a 91 pace Eto'o, so there's going to be plenty of strikers who have around that who aren't that expensive. And the 4-4-2, you can see even Zidane still getting involved. Salah's occupied him, and Mbappe occupied him enough at first, and that Eto'o just gets through a goal, wait for the keep movement, an easy finish, and that's the counter-attack. The counter-attacking abilities in the 4-4-2 are pretty crazy. It's one of the best counter-attacking formations in the game, because the way I do the instructions, win the ball higher up the pitch, I've got getting behind on 4 players. All it takes is one of them to beat the man, getting behind, play a good through ball, which why I like to have the creator in there, and out of nowhere you can be in on goal, which is so hard to defend against and makes it a nightmare for people. I've shown you how good it can be defensively. I've shown you how it can be on the counter-attack, keeping the ball. Hopefully this video has shown you the power of the 4-4-2. Appreciate you guys watching this video. If you've got any questions, if there's any content videos you want to see, let us know in the Discord. Appreciate you guys' support. Have a great evening.